Trump wants the illegals back. I kid you not, he regrets deporting the illegals because farmers are losing $billion worth of crops and the inner city people are not coming out to farm. You know who the inner city people are? Black people. Black people are the inner city. I kid you not, guys, take a look.
Trump went on Fox News and basically said, we shouldn't have kicked the immigrants out. The farmers ain't got nobody. The inner city people ain't gonna do it, so we need to bring them back.
Sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on. So we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these are these people, that you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that.
Damn right, the people in the inner city ain't doing that work. He basically thought he was going to deport everybody and then we was going to go back in those fields. What the hell this man was thinking? Those days is over and they ain't coming back. Now he want to think about bringing the immigrants back because farmers are struggling. You should have thought about that beforehand. You already knew these people wasn't going to survive because you took away they people to help run their shit. Now he doubling down and he want them to come back legally. Man, get the fuck out of here.
But Mr. President, I just want to hear you clearly. You're saying the people who have been here for years and who have been even paying taxes, you're going to look at them very differently and maybe they belong here in the workforce?
I want to work with them, and in some cases we're sending them back to their country with a pass back in legally, and we're doing things that are very difficult to do and very complex, but it works really well. We're sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on. But we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody. These are these people that you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried. We've tried. Everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. Naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it? These are very, in many ways, they're very, very.
So Donald Trump, not in these exact words, but basically admitted this week that a lot of the things that he's been doing, a lot of the policies, a lot of the executive orders that he's been signing off on was all made with the intention of getting black people back into the field. It was made with the intention of getting black people back into the field. All right, so on Tuesday, Donald Trump made an appearance, right, on CNBC's Squawk Box. And on that platform, he actually made a lot of commentary in regards to the situation with the deportations, migrant workers, the state of America's agriculture, and he made comments on inner city people not doing farm work. I want you to always remember that when they mention inner city, that means black. In Donald Trump's exact words, people that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They've tried. We've tried. Everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. Naturally. They don't get a bad back because if they get a bad back, they die. He also went on to say that they are very, very, very special people and they cannot be easily replaced. Remember what I said, anytime that they mention the words inner city people, inner city communities, inner city neighborhoods, that's black. That's code for black. Black, blackity black, okay? Black people. And it is because of that exact commentary that it reconfirms for me, okay? Not confirms, but reconfirms, meaning that I already knew. But it reconfirms that the plan from the very beginning with these executive orders, right, was to further destabilize black communities, further destabilize poor communities, but black mainly, so that you could put pressure on these communities so that you could get them to go back into the field, right? And then once you get them back in the field, bingo, you've made America great again. Modernize slavery. But black people said, fuck you and this little game that you want to play. Since we are the most valuable player on the scoreboard, we will remove ourselves and let's see if this game is still going to continue. And that's in fact what we're seeing right now. Donald Trump thought that by forcing all of these other people out, taking away our Medicaid, doing all of these things to further destabilize our community, that we would conform, that we would just do what he wants us to do, what the whites of this world, what white supremacy wants us to do. But black people decided to pull a Uno reverse and they did nothing, which is something that they're not used to black people doing. They're used to black people having this spirit of rebellion, having this spirit of revolution. But instead, black people decided that, you know what, I'm going to preserve my energy for me and my people, but I'm also going to remove myself from this game entirely. And now everything is starting to crumble. The way that the America agriculture is taking a huge hit right now because of Donald Trump and his deportations. Like, I don't think that you understand how much America survives off of the labor of undocumented workers. And when I say y'all, I mean all the other races. Black people knew, because black people were telling you. They told you, don't do this. Don't do this, because we're not going back in the field. Don't do this, but y'all didn't listen. And just to put into retrospect of how important undocumented migrant workers are to the agriculture economy here in America, the U.S. Department of Agriculture reports that roughly 42% of crop workers are undocumented, with nearly 70% being foreign-born. This labor is essential in states like California and Texas, where up to 80% of farm workers lack legal status. Donald Trump signed off on a lot of these executive orders back in January. It is now August, and in between that time, he has done a parade of chaotic shit, trying to put pressure on the black community, but the black community has refused to fold. They have not folded. And it's not just the black community, but the legal Hispanic community here, the legal Latinos here, the Browns, and every other race that sees what this administration has been trying to do from the very beginning. They have not folded. And because of that, everything that he has signed off on in January is starting to bite him in the ass in August. And to all of you people out there that had so much to say in regards to the black community and the 92% and them actually deciding to stand down and not participate, to not get involved, to protect their peace, all of the critiques that you had on their decision, let this be your example. Let this be your primary example as to why you should stay the fuck out of black people business. Stay the fuck out of black people business. You had so much to say in regards to our decision and wanting to stand the fuck back and deciding to remove ourselves from this entire game altogether, right? Now, you see that black people actually knew what the fuck they were doing. They knew what the fuck they were doing. They told you were going to need these people because they weren't doing it anymore. They told you they wasn't going to do it anymore. You still got rid of them people. You still got rid of the migrants. You still did and went through with the mass deportations, and now you guys want food. But you thought that the black people was going to get into the field. No, they wasn't going to do it. They wasn't going to do it. They wasn't going to do it. And now you see why they decided from the very beginning, oh, I see how this is going to play out. Exit stage left.
You know, the black jobs he kept talking about, this is what he meant. You know, all along he wanted to deport these people so that he will bring back black people to be on the fields. Like, that has always been the plan. He's now saying that the Mexicans, the Latinos, all those people, the illegals that he deported are physically fit to do the farming because their backs do not break. Like, the level of the way this guy thinks is outstanding, to say the least, right? It's kind of confusing that we keep on going back and forth over this, right? You knew these guys were working their backs off. We are working despite the fact they pay a lot of your taxes. They do the most work that your people will not do. They are your greatest workforce when it comes to farming jobs. But you still went ahead and voted them out, thinking that the inner city people, that's the black people, are going to come out to farm. Newsflash, black people are not coming out. They are not coming out to Mr. Trump. Oh my God. Just like I keep saying, we are really living in interesting times, and the further we go into this whole presidency, the funnier it becomes. 5% of Americans are farmers, and they could literally feed the world. And most of your workforce are coming from illegals, from immigrants. You know, some of these jobs that you don't want to do, just like I said, no one wants to go out in a temperature of above 100 degrees Fahrenheit to go farm. But you have these people doing these jobs happily, you know, paying their taxes and all that, but you lie that the other criminals and you're taking them out. Meanwhile, you came and we are saying black jobs, and now you want black people. Black people are not coming out. Black people have their jobs too. They are more educated black people. They have great jobs. No one wants to go work in that scorching sun, Mr. Trump. Even your other people don't want to go do it.
I know goddamn well Trump didn't think that we was finna get back in the motherfucking fields. So Trump gonna get his ass on goddamn TV talking about he prematurely deported the illegals that was working in the farms, thinking that us, niggas, was gonna get back out there. Bitch, we already did that, and you see where it got us, huh? We the freshest motherfucking goddamn race walking. You think we finna fuck up our new Louis Vuittons that we goddamn skipped out on our light bill for? No. Get somebody else to do it. What's wrong? They running short on that motherfucking lettuce that they put on the motherfucking big bats that you eat every goddamn day? Talking about the motherfucking inner city people don't want to take the farmer jobs. Nigga, what the fuck you thought was gonna happen? You didn't think about this shit before you did it? Well, newsflash, Mr. Motherfucking Trump, we don't even want to go to the goddamn jobs that we gotta clock in for. They got AC units. We already complaining before we clock in. So by the show of hands, which one of you niggas would go out there and sign up to go work out in them hot ass motherfucking fields? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Trump just said that Mexican immigrants naturally do farm labor and that they don't get a bad back because if they get a bad back, then they die. Can't make this shit up. He says, we can't let our farmers not have anybody. These are people that you can't replace them very easily. You know, people that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work, and they've tried. We've tried. Everybody's tried. They just don't do it. These people do it naturally. Naturally. I didn't stutter. He did say naturally twice. Then he goes on to say, I said, what happens if they get it to the farm the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? And he said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. You know, in many ways, they're very, very special people. Okay, first off, it should go without saying that no group of people is naturally inclined to do farm work above a different group of people. Like, that's just a blatantly racist claim to make. And on top of that, the whole bad back thing is just weird as hell. Trump is saying that after publicly announcing that he and his administration are working on a program that would make it so that way undocumented immigrants could still work on farms, but only if the farm owner is willing to, like, account for them, which just sounds like slavery. Also, calling Mexican immigrants special individuals while you're literally just threatening to, and not just threatening, but you are actively arresting and detaining people who look Mexican and throwing them in ICE detention centers without due process. That just feels really, like, nasty and gross and disgusting. Anyway, to the surprise of absolutely no one, Trump is blatantly racist and thinks that all Mexican individuals are naturally inclined to do farm labor.
To all the people Trump deported, y'all should be proud. Cause Trump just sat on Fox Live and said the quiet part out loud. To all the people Trump deported, y'all should be proud cause Trump just sat on Fox Live and said the quiet part out loud. Trump just said, I kicked all of them out too fast. We thought once we kicked them out, all the people in urban communities, aka black people, was gonna get back in these fields. Trump, what the hell you thought this was? Selma? Hell no, we ain't doing that. Nigga, we'll sell t-shirts on our truck before we do that. I hope that wasn't part of the game plan originally. Trump said, listen, we gotta get some of the people from that we kicked out the country back. We gotta get them back legally. We'll give them their papers and all. We ain't got no damn farmers. You didn't think about this before you kicked them out? Huh? Listen, the last people who were doing that, their last name was Tubman and shit like that. We ain't into that no more. We got black businesses. We'll figure it out here. Okay, we'll buy a couple stamps. We ain't doing that. Listen, to all the African people, Haitian, Spanish, whoever got kicked out of the country, even people who was doing good in their country in England and British people, listen, he needs y'all back. He ain't think about it. This is your time to get your paperwork together and come back legally so that way nobody can mess with y'all for generations to come, okay? Trump said, listen, I thought about it. I kicked y'all out, but our economy wasn't ready for that. The economy said, oh, wait a minute, nigga. Oh, this ain't that type of party, okay? So now he's working on getting them back. Now, Trump did say some wild stuff about, he asked some farmers what happened if they back break. I'm not even repeating that whole joke because it's kind of crazy. But Trump, I don't think nobody proofread what he got to say. I don't think he read none of the stuff that they tell him to say. I think he just say whatever come to mind. Listen, Trump said he got to get the illegals back so they can be legal. Okay, I'm just here to bring y'all the news. I'm just a messenger.
Y'all, so apparently the Republicans thought if they got rid of the illegals and they put more financial pressure on the black communities and the people of color that are American citizens, that we would want to go in the field and we would want to do the work that the previous citizens that hadn't yet to obtain their citizenship would do. Now, hear me out. When the produce immediately changed, at first I was a little annoyed. I live in Arizona for perspective. So yeah, they here. They out here for real. And it hit us immediately. Do you hear me? When the produce went bad, at first, and not bad, but like it just was, you could tell. Like you can tell the difference. At first I was a little annoyed, but then I sat back and was like, no, actually, no, for real. That's what they need. They need to see that. And it wasn't just the produce. That's the crazy part. It was the produce and so much other shit that immediately like came like a wave through Arizona. They needed that wake-up call. I've been staring at a house that has been taking upwards of at least, I want to say 7-8 months to finish. Before they left, I used to watch, because this is where I live at, the whole strip is being developed. I watched them complete an entire development in under a year. I watched them complete an entire development in under a year. For perspective, it's a big ass development too. The entire development was done in under a year. There are houses on this strip in the past 6 months, they just been sitting. I had to stand still. Crickets, where y'all at? When the produce went bad, I was annoyed at first, but then I said, no, they need this wake-up call. They need to know the contribution, citizenship or not, that these people actually make to this country. They need to understand that a land that was already built off of stolen land does not give you the right to kick people out when their ancestors were indigenous to this land. You need to understand the contribution and the amount of work that they did the jobs you didn't want to do, that I don't want to do on a daily basis. You also need to understand their contribution. Now, Trump wants to bring them back legally. Because he's like, them niggas is not trying to get out there in the sun. And they not trying to do none of that work. And not. Why? So you can treat us 10 times worse? You gonna have to pay to play, baby. You gonna have to pay them people to come back here. You gonna have to pay them people to come back here. Y'all humiliated them in front of the whole world in the nastiest, most vicious ways. You gonna have to pay them people to come back here. Oh, and just so you know, our produce has increased. So I know they let some of y'all back in. I know they let some of them back in. Don't lie. I know they pushed some of them applications through and was like, listen, when can you clock back in? Okay? Everything's going to shit. I bet it is. I bet it is. I bet it is. You need to issue a very public apology. You need to offer them something. Offer them something. Offer them something. Excluding the Cubans that was like, oh my God. I vote for Donald Trump. Lead them out. They wasn't doing no work, no way. They wasn't doing no work, no motherfucking way. They think that they white. Lead them out. But yeah, y'all, Donald Trump said that because the black people don't want to do the jobs that the illegal citizens that they deported, because they don't want to do those jobs, they gonna have to let some people back in. Y'all, they built Alligator Alcatraz without even so much as thinking about. And now that I think about it, I don't think that they're going to let them back in without putting them through like a Squid Games kind of situation. Let me know what y'all think. Am I the only one that's clocking tea? Because you just built Alligator Alcatraz. And there has been a 60-minute video about you dumping people's bodies in the ocean and bodies washing up along the shore. So, I don't know. Maybe you should have thought this one through.
They've worked on the farms for 15 years, and all of a sudden, so I have a great, Ron does, Christy does, we have a great feeling for the farmer and for others in the same position. And we're going to give them responsibility for people. And we're going to have a system of signing them up so they don't have to go. They can be here legally. They can pay taxes and everything. They're not getting citizenship, but they get other things. And the farmers need them to do the work. Without those people, you're not going to be able to run your farm.
I think that back in the 1800s, black people did those farming jobs for free. They've been asking for their reparations for the longest time, and no one is saying when and how they're going to get paid. You need to pay back their reparations first. Pay back their reparations first. Maybe then they will think about, going to the fields. But first of all, pay the first reparations. You've not done that yet. Oh my God. The days are going to be way funnier than we thought they are going to be, right? Guys, you need to see that because the ride is about to get more bombier than we thought.
Donald Trump is having regrets about the people that he has deported, and now he's talking about bringing them back. Of course, he's saying on Fox that, we want them to learn and be educated and then come back legally, and that sounds all well and good, but he also goes on to say that it's punishing the farmers because they now don't have people to work their fields, and there's nobody who's going to go and do that type of work in America. And it's almost as if we said, yeah, we told you so. And what is the process of bringing these people back legally? He has no plan. He's just throwing shit out. But what it shows is a huge miscalculation. It was supposed to be, according to Donald Trump and his supporters, what they claim now. It's supposed to be the violent criminals. When you start rounding up people at their green card interviews and you're going to their place of employment, it's no longer about violent criminals. It's about the racist behavior of profiling and just grabbing anybody who is brown and getting them the hell out of America. And now you found out that America's farmers and workforce is built around people like this who will do hard labor tasks. You're now wanting to re-bring them back because you realize you fucked up so badly when you did that. So just add this to the long list of the bumbling, fumbling missteps of Donald Trump.
It was never about immigration. It was always about white supremacy. And President Trump just proved it. As soon as mostly white, wealthy farmers and hotel owners had their exploitative labor practices threatened, Trump flipped like that, announcing today, Thursday, June 12th, that they will be making major changes to their immigration enforcement of farm workers and hotel and leisure workers.
Farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. I have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers, and leisure too, hotels.
Cut to Stephen Miller dry heaving in the corner. How is MAGA going to react to this, y'all? It is very clear that the problem Trump created is getting out of control. And so now he's going to change course. He's attempting to make some kind of logical or economic argument about immigrant labor when he and his team have spent years making a racist argument about immigrants, telling the American people how dangerous immigrants are. And I don't know how easily you can put that racist genie back in the bottle.
All of a sudden, Trump is now talking about, the illegals can come now. At least we're going to train you. We're going to educate you. We're going to give you all those good stuff. This is what you should have done with the illegals, with the immigrants, knowing that they are your largest workforce. This is what you should have done the whole entire time. You shouldn't have waited to deport them. There was no any justification for that. The justification was the criminals. Like, criminals, you have a bunch of them here. And they are from here. Anyways, I just want to inform you, Mr. Trump, that black people are not coming out. Black people, would always work on their farms. And they've been doing that. They've not been outsourcing it that much because we've always been tilting to our farms, right? And we are used to hard labor. And black people would rather till their farms other than go till in somebody's farm while they are underpaid and they go through all kinds of weather changes while farming. They're not going to do that. They're just going to stay on their farms and work on their farms, on their fields. That's what black people are saying. So this all about they're stealing your jobs, you're stealing your black jobs. I was thinking it was white collar jobs. I didn't even know he was trying to take them back to the 1800s. That's what Trump is trying to do, take black people back to the 1800s when they were farming for free. You need to give them their reparations. Please give them back their reparations. Give them their reparations. They deserve to be given their reparations, and they're not going to go back to no farms. Even if you're giving them big money. No, farm job is really, really hard. It's really, really hard. You should have thought about it before deporting the so-called illegals, right? These guys were doing a honest job, doing their best, paying into your, capitalistic world. But now you want to place. This is no. How long are we going to be going back and forth? No, we want them back. No, we want them out. No, like how long are we going to be doing this? Like how long are we going to be doing this, Mr. Trump? So guys, what do you think? Because this whole thing is becoming so funny, right? Because he's actually calling on the inner city people to come out and farm. We all know who the inner city people are. They are the black people and other people of colored people, right? So guys, what do you think? Please drop your thoughts and also do me the honor and hit on the subscribe button, hit on the like button, share this video with your friends. See you in the next one. Bye.